Do you know what I love? I love it because it kind of comes out of my selfish nature, but I love to blame Sarah. I love to blame her for my unloving negative reactions. For instance, suppose she forgets to lock the door and turn on the security system in the evening after I asked her to do that, right? I mean, I love then to blame her for the fact that I get angry, that my voice raises, that I'm unloving. After all, I wouldn't be unloving and I wouldn't be negative had she done what I asked, right? So I blame her. But I made a discovery. I'm going to let you in on the secret that I discovered. Are you ready for this? It doesn't work with Sarah. She doesn't buy it. Oh, I can technically confront her for having neglected to do what I asked. I mean, after all, I asked her to lock the door and I asked her to turn on the system, right? And the hope is that this thing will come on and everything will be okay. And I can actually get upset with her that she didn't do that. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the fact that I blame her for my unloving and negative reaction. But Sarah doesn't buy it because she knows this, that my response is my responsibility. My response is my responsibility. Sarah's bought into that idea for herself. I bought in it for myself. Now, neither one of us like that little phrase, my response is my responsibility. But I want to more fully explain to you the power of this expression. My response is my responsibility. In fact, I want you to listen in and observe what I had to say about this in our conference. Coming to a point where you say, my response is my responsibility. My response is my responsibility. And what I mean by that is coming to a point where even though Sarah may be 80% guilty, or at least I think, I own up to my 20% and I just focus on my 20% of what I'm doing wrong and I just stay right there. I stop right there. I don't get into blame placing. I don't start saying, well, I am this way because you made me this way. Where does this go? You and I both know that that doesn't go anywhere. So the mature one comes to a point where he or she says, my response is my responsibility, and I've got to come to a point where I make a decision that I've got to just stop blaming. Even though that person technically is to blame, but it's not going to go anywhere because if they're really immature, they're not going to receive that. And in fact, my response is my responsibility. Sarah doesn't cause me to be the way I am, she reveals the way I am. Let me illustrate this. A speck of sand in the human eye first causes irritation, then infection, and if not cared for, eventually loss of vision. That same little speck of sand in an oyster first causes irritation, then concretion, and produces what? A pearl. Now, did the sand cause the results in the human eye? Did the sand cause the results in the oyster? No. The sand is an irritant. If that's not the case, next time you get sand in your eye, be careful. A pearl may pop out. See, we all see how stupid that is. The sand is an irritant. It isn't the cause. It reveals the inner properties. But let's put it this way. Oh, look at this. We have a rose here. And I step on this rose. Oh, that rose aroma. Ascending to my nostrils. That's so wonderful. Now, did I cause the rose to smell like a rose when I stepped on it and put pressure? No, the pressure I put on the rose revealed the inner properties of the rose. Well, look what's over here. A skunk. Got it. Oh, there's an aroma. Did I cause the skunk to smell like a skunk when I put pressure on it? No. That revealed the inner properties of the skunk. Who are you in marriage, the rose or the skunk? The mature person comes to a point where they own up to these ideas and say, oh God, through Jesus Christ, this is true. I'm going to be the mature one. I'm going to do what is right, whatever my spouse does to me. I'm just going to do this because ultimately it's not about them. It's about you and me. Well, it's true. My response is my responsibility, and Sarah does not cause me to be the way I am. She reveals the way I am. Now, if you're like me, don't you just hate that? I mean, everything within me, as I said, loves to blame her. I want to somehow make Sarah responsible for my responses. But the discovery that I made that has so much power, and here's my experience. When I finally locked into the idea that my response is my responsibility, and it was tough at those times, it's still there, and I'm not perfect, and don't hold me to this because I'm going to blow it tomorrow. But I had to lock into the idea that my response is my responsibility. And at first I thought I was losing power. I thought, she isn't going to deal with her stuff. I'm the one that's dealing with my stuff. I'm taking all the blame, etc., etc. I went through all of that stuff in my mind. But here's what I realized. When I locked into that and began to own up to what I'd done wrong and apologize for my unloving negative reactions, or began to pull back from blaming Sarah, something interesting began to happen. Sarah began to respond to me far more positively. Here's the question to you. Do you really believe that if you were to subscribe to what I just said, that your response is your responsibility, that your spouse will begin over time to respond to you more positively? You see, in the odd sense of this, we actually hold our spouse responsible for our responses so that they will come to us and apologize and say, I'm so sorry for making you to be the way you are. And that then they'll become very positive and excited. I mean, that's frankly just stupid. It never works that way. So every year we make New Year's resolutions. We say, you know what, I need to make a decision to do something. Can I encourage you to make a decision to write on a piece of paper, my response is my responsibility, and maybe put it in your billfold and say, this year I'm going to commit myself to doing this with the hope and the prayer that it actually will positively impact my spouse. Not to suggest clear up my own conscience, because I guilt trip myself as a result of blaming Sarah when I know deep within my soul I'm wrong. Adam only knew two beings, and after he sinned, the first sin that he committed? He only knew two beings, God and the woman, and he said, the woman you gave me made me to eat. He blamed both beings in one sentence. Talk about the economy of words. But there's guilt with that. And once I locked into the idea that my response is my responsibility and began to work on that, my conscience was cleared. Sarah began to respond more positively, and my relationship with the Lord vastly improved. You and I have to decide this year whether we're going to be a rose or a skunk. That choice is really yours. You can either reveal that you're a skunk, not a pleasant thought, or you can reveal to the people around you and to yourself that you're maturing, and to God Himself that you're a sweet, sweet rose, and the aroma is a sweet savor.